I keep passing problem challenges but never get to that payout. How do I fix that? I've written 3 answers for that question. I've written a neurological answer, another neurological answer, and a tactical answer. So let's start with the first neurological answer. Here's the thing, guys. At any given point in time, our brain is continuously evaluating what to do next. And the way it evaluates what to do next is by taking a set of possible actions and evaluating the rewards that we might get from those set of actions, and then choosing the action that will theoretically give us the most rewards. That's how we choose our next step, whether it's trading, whether it's business, whether it's a sentence that you're about to say in a conversation. So you're evaluating in your head at any given time multiple possible sentences, and you're evaluating the most rewarding one and then choosing the most rewarding one to say, or what you believe would be the most rewarding one. Now, part of those set of actions when live trading is overtrading. So your brain always evaluates whether you should be overtrading at any given point in time. So whether you should be taking a trade that is outside of the boundaries of your trading system. Let's say you have no trades right now. Your brain evaluates as part of the actions that it can possibly do whether it can right now force a trade even though you don't have a trade right now present on the chart. When you're demo trading and your brain evaluates the possibility of overtrading, your brain immediately understands that there's absolutely no benefit to overtrading when you're demo trading. Why? Because the possible benefit from overtrading is that you might flip the account. Let's say if you take a lot of emotional trades all over the place, and you over risk and you overtrade, there's a possibility you flip the account, right? Flipping a demo account has absolutely no benefit because that money isn't yours, and therefore you won't be making any financial gain. And at the same time, you won't be making any educational gain, because if you overtrade and you just trade all over the place and you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to learn anything from that. So your brain's like, okay, there's absolutely no benefit from overtrading as I am demo trading. There is no financial gain and there is no educational gain. And therefore your brain stays away from this specific action and you don't overtrade. Now, when taking an evaluation account, right now you're in the challenge phase, your brain understands that all you need to do is you need to make 8% to 10%. So it evaluates the possibility of overtrading, and it's like, you know what? All I need to make is 8% to 10%. I really don't need to overtrade, because whether I make 8% or 16% or 30% or 50% or 100%, it doesn't going to make a difference. Either ways, I'm going to pass that challenge. So therefore, there is no rewards from overtrading, let's say, and possibly flipping the account. All I need to aim for is 8% to pass the challenge. Now, when you get funded and you're finally trading with live money, this is the only time where overtrading finally makes a bit of sense. Because you're like, if I overtrade right now, let's say you just got funded right now. You're like, if I overtrade right now and I over risk and I trade all over the place, there is a possibility where I flip that $100,000 account, let's say, to $200,000, and therefore I end up making $100,000 in profits. And therefore, since that possibility exists for the first time in your whole trading career, your brain sees that there is a possible benefit to overtrading and over risking, which is you get to make a lot of money, possibly. That is a possibility. And therefore, for the first time in your trading career, your brain is actually considering overtrading as a true solution, because there's a possibility that it makes a lot of money as a result of overtrading, and therefore you get to make a lot of money. So for the first time in a while, that decision doesn't seem so bad. It seems like it has a certain benefit, and therefore your brain is enticed, basically is tempted to take that route and overtrade and over risk. And that's why the moment you get that temptation, the majority of people fall for it, the majority of traders fall for it, and therefore blow that account and never get to a payout. What you need to do in order to solve that is you need to convince your brain that overtrading is actually bad. As I said, for the first time in a while, your brain believes that overtrading might have a certain benefit. Now, your job is to convince your brain that there is damages to overtrading and make your brain see those damages so it basically isn't motivated to go through that route. Now, what are the damages of overtrading, and how do I convince my brain that overtrading is bad? Now, the damages of overtrading is not that you might lose money. Your brain already understands that, and it already understands that you might lose money, and it's only doing overtrading because there's a possibility that you end up flipping the account and making a lot of money. So it understands that, so you don't need to convince your brain with that. What you need to convince your brain with is that making money through overtrading and over risking is actually bad. Even if the outcome is positive, even if you end up making money through overtrading, that's actually a negative result. Now, how do you convince your brain with that? Is first of all by understanding that making money through luck is not a replicable strategy. What I mean by that is that right now, if I win the lottery, let's say right now I have no money and I have no skills to make money, and I end up winning the lottery and I make a lot of money. Let's say I end up winning right now $100,000, right? Eventually that money will be spent, right? It will be done. I will eventually spend it. And as a result, I will go back to point zero. I have no money and I have no skills to make money. And therefore making money through luck is simply just a 360-degree circle. You start here, you make a lot of money, and then you spend all that money, and then you go back to point zero. You have no money, and you have no skills to make money. So it's just a waste of time. You end up wasting 6 months of your life making money, then spending that money, then going back to point zero where you have no money and you have no skill to make money. So making money through luck is something that I hate because I understand that I cannot replicate luck. Right? I can win the lottery right now. I cannot win the lottery every day. So it's the same thing with overtrading and over-risking. You can gamble and you can make money right now, but you can't do that every month. And therefore, as a result, you might do it right now and it might work out and you might make a lot of money as a result, but eventually you will spend that money and you will go back to point zero. You have learned nothing in regards to trading because you were busy gambling and overtrading. And number two, you have no money. So you went back to point zero. So again, making money through luck is a 360-degree circle that basically just pushes you to exactly where you are right now. And therefore, there is no long-term benefit to it. And because I understand that there's no long-term benefit to it, I am not motivated to do it. I don't give a shit about the money that might come luckily because I understand that I cannot replicate this money and eventually this money will be spent. And therefore, I don't really care about it. And this is what you need to understand. Money made through gambling and overtrading and over-risking is bad. Why is it bad? Because it only pushes you to where you were in the beginning. Now, you might be like, but Roy, I'll go back to where I was in the beginning and therefore it's not that bad, right? I am not taking a step back. I'm only going back to where I was in the beginning. So it's totally fine, right? Not really. The reason why not really is because I always talk about this opportunity cost. If we are busy doing something, then we are most probably missing out on something else. So when you are busy gambling and trying to flip your account for months on end and trying to get that big payout, you're actually missing out on building systems and frameworks that could generate you money over time. So it's the same thing. If someone is too busy trying to win the lottery all the time, it means that they are missing out on the possibility of building a sustainable business because all they're trying to do is buying lottery tickets all day and scratching tickets all day. They're too busy doing that they are missing out on building a sustainable business. So the cost of you gambling and overtrading, even if you end up making money, is that you are missing out on refining your systems, understanding them more, and building more profitability and more sustainable frameworks that could generate you money over time because you're too busy gambling and doing shit. And therefore, that's why it's bad. Not because you go back to wherever you were before. That's not bad. You're basically just the same. The reason why it's bad is because all of this time that you're wasting, you could have used it to do something great, to improve your system, to build more profitability, to learn more about the trading industry. But instead, you're too busy gambling, and therefore you never learn, you never improve, and you're always stuck wherever you are right now, which I bet is not the best place you'd like to be in. Quick disclaimer, guys, this is a quick interruption of the video. I'm receiving such messages from students and members of the Discord. There's fake usernames that resemble my usernames that are messaging people. That is not me, guys. The only way to apply to my mentorship is through the link in the description. You will apply through that form, you will fill that form, and we will contact you. There is no exceptions. I will not message you on Discord or Instagram and be like, you're the exception, and if you pay through this spot and urgently right now, then we will give you the spot. You'll be the exception and you don't need to apply through the form. There's no exceptions. The way to apply to possibly get mentored by me is through the link in the description. That's it. There's no other ways. Take care, guys, and be cautious of scammers. Goodbye. So number 2, as to why traders never get to that payout phase, is because I've seen a direct correlation, guys, between a trader's ability to get a payout and the timeline in which he expects to get a payout. So let's say you just got funded right now. And you're like, okay, I just got funded right now, and my prop firm allows, let's say, bi-weekly payouts or weekly payouts, and therefore there's a big possibility that I get a payout next week, and therefore that's what I want. I want to get a payout next week. So you expect to get a payout next week. Now, the majority of people that expect to get a payout on such a short timeline almost never get a payout ever in their lives. The reason for that, I'll explain it logically. Let's say I expect to get a payout next week. What happens is I trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and let's say, luckily for this week, my system isn't behaving very well, and therefore I end up making no money for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Now Thursday comes and I look at the charts and there is no trades for me today to take. Let's say it's a high impact news day where I usually avoid, or simply my system isn't outputting trades today. Now because I want to get a payout this week, what I end up doing is I end up forcing trades because I need to bring my account to the positive in order for me to receive a payout. So I end up emotionally trading because I'm expecting to receive a payout by the end of the week, and so far I have no money in the account. And therefore, guys, the shorter the timeline, the higher the pressure and the more unreasonable you are. Now, how do you fix this? By obviously extending the timeline so you have less pressure, so you become more reasonable in your trading. So one thing that I always tell my students, I always say, expect to get a payout in the next quarter, not even in the next month. Extend your timeline to a quarter. Be like, I want to make money this quarter. That's it. Not this week, not this day, not this month, not anytime soon. I expect to get a payout next quarter, and by doing that, you extend the timeline so every day feels insignificant and every week feels insignificant. If you go on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you have no trades, or let's say you're trading, your system is not behaving very well, you don't give a shit because you don't expect to make money this week anyway. You're expecting to receive a payout per quarter. That's it. And therefore, as I said, the more you extend the timeline, the less the pressure and the more reasonable you are in your trading. By the way, guys, this doesn't just apply to prop firm trading, it also applies to real trading. Like when I'm live trading right now, I measure my results quarterly. I don't measure them on a day-to-day basis or on a monthly basis or on a weekly basis. I look at my profits on a quarter basis. And because of that, because my timeline is so extended, I really don't give a shit about today. If I wake up today and I find no trades on the charts, then there's no trades on the charts. I understand that today is only a micro portion in the quarter. Like today will barely affect the quarterly results. And therefore, it's so insignificant that I don't give a shit about it. And because I don't give a shit about it, I can trade reasonably and logically and not include any emotions in my trading. So advice number 2, extend your time horizon. I had this guy, guys, this is solution number 3, by the way. I had this guy where he passed a challenge. He passed a prop firm challenge. And then he never got to a payout. And I asked him, I was like, how did you pass the prop firm challenge? And he was like, and it was sort of a smart idea. What he would do is he understands that the forex market is very volatile, right? And therefore it keeps going up and down, going up and down. So what he would do is he would take a trade with a very small lot size compared to the challenge that he's taken, and he would just wait for that trade to come back into profits, and as soon as it would come back into profits, he would close that trade. So in his challenge phase, he never lost a trade because he would take a trade, very small lot size. He was doing it in a smart way. I know the idea and the way that he took the challenge seems very like gambling material, but he was at the very least thinking about it a little. So what he would do is, as I said, he would take a trade, very small lot size, wait for it to come back in his profits, and then close it. So he never lost a trade in his challenge phase, and he never hit the drawdown limit because the lot size that he's taken per trade is very small, to the point where it's almost impossible for him to hit the daily drawdown limit. So he passed that challenge. He was capable of passing the challenge. Now, a few days went by, and before he gets a payout, he blew the account. Why? Because the strategy that he used in order to pass the challenge is a strategy that works until it doesn't, right? If you take a trade and you just wait indefinitely for it to come back into profits for you to close it, there is this one time, even if it's rare, but there is this one time where the market is just going to keep running in the opposite direction indefinitely, and you are going to blow the account, or at the very least hit your drawdown limit. And this is what happened to him. Therefore, the majority of people can't get to payouts because they pass their challenge. They're trying to manipulate the challenge to pass it, and they keep using the same methodology that they used in the challenge phase in their live trading phase. If that guy, after passing the challenge, was like, you know what? I manipulated my way into passing the challenge by doing some gambling shit and tricky shit and risking a lot and being aggressive and all that. Now, in my live trading phase, I'm going to trade normally. That's it. Conservatively, stop loss, all that. If he just shifted methodologies, then he would have gotten a payout. The problem with the majority of traders is that it is very hard for them to give up the methodology that made them pass the challenge, because at the end of the day, it is the methodology that made them pass the challenge. So they have received the reward from that methodology, and therefore it's very hard for them to give it up. Even if they know that the methodology is high risk and all that, they would continue using it because it has shown positive results in the challenge phase. So I don't mind you guys trying to manipulate the challenges. I know they're very hard to pass, and I know that you might need to do some high risk shit in order to pass them. But as soon as you're done doing that, you did your high risk shit, you passed the challenge, go back to the normal strategy that you have back tested and that you have demo traded. Go back to that. Stop using high risk shit in your funded phase. As soon as you get funded, go back to your conservative system and risk 0.5% per trade. That's it. When you pass a challenge, understand that all you need to do is you need to make 2% per month. That's it, 2% per month. If you have a $100,000 account, that's $2,000, and then you can stack hundreds of thousands of dollars upon each other by passing multiple profit challenges. That's enough money. All you need to do is 2% per month. So go back to trading conservatively. There's literally no reason for you to hit the drawdown limit when you're in the funded phase. There is no reason for you to do that. The only reason why you do that is because you keep over risking, you keep over trading, because you're trying to manipulate the live account similarly to how you manipulated the challenge. You're trying to get a lot of money similarly to how you did it in the challenge, because you're like, if I can do it in the challenge, then I can do it live trading. And therefore, guys, that's how you cause your own demise. And therefore, simply, guys, if you manipulated the challenge, don't try to manipulate the funded live account, okay? Go back to trading conservatively. And that's the last advice that I want to give you this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you guys soon. Goodbye.